Minnesota Timberwolves are scared that Anthony Edwards is going to want out. There's rumors that he, possibly want to go back home to Atlanta. That's not always smart. I remember Chris Webber wanted to come back to Detroit early in his career. I think his pops was like, nah, it ain't a smart move. When he got older, Derek Coleman came back to Detroit. When you're young, man, it's a target on your back, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, they should be. Minnesota, nobody's ever won there. And right now, Nas Reed kind of leaking out that they have some issues in the locker room. My thought was when they got rid of, let's just rewind back to some of the organizational mistakes that I believe they made. You can agree or disagree with some of them. All of them, I'm not mad. This is not, it's an open place as long as everybody respectful. We Gucci, right? So, Rudy Gobert was a horrible mistake. I don't know basketball philosophy-wise what they were thinking. Enabling Karl-Anthony Towns to go out there and basically be an additional wing. And that's pretty much what the four positions are outside of the center position. They're wings. The people talking about he's not big enough to play power forward. The power forward is just another small forward. The guards, most situations, they interchangeable. It's only a few true point guards. It's only to be honest with you, it ain't as many true two guards as it used to be. You used to have Michael, Jerry Stackhouse, Rip Hamilton, Reggie Miller. You used to have two guards galore. Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullins, I think was a two guard. Rex Chapman, you used to have a bunch of two guards back in the day. Now, really, if you really think about it, it is point guard, it is combo guard galore. You got a couple true point guards out there or close to it, and it's combo guard galore, right? But I never understood the thought of getting Rudy Gobert. It never made sense to me. Enabling Cat to be on the perimeter more never made sense to me. You get Cat, you trade him for Julius Randle, Divincenko. Didn't get any real meaningful picks from what I see. Didn't make sense to me. And then you get Randle, who is not a great playoff performer. Didn't make sense to me. So it's been a lot of fumble. You got rid of Rob Dillingham. Didn't want to develop Rob Dillingham, whatever reason that was. That was a guy that had promise. I like the Shannon kid out of Illinois. He got promise, but Jay McDaniels has developed. But you had Cat, Anthony Edwards. That was good. Now, because you got Nas Reed, because you had swung another trade to get a difference maker. If you can get Rudy Gobert, they could have swung something to get a better difference. They didn't make no sense to me. Realistically, you probably could have ended up with Julius Randle and Cat without doing the Gobert deal. Not saying that would have worked. That ain't what I'm saying. But you could have put somebody else next to him. And now going out to get Kyrie, now you got multiple teams hunting for Kyrie. So that what that allow, if that's true, Pistons interested, Minnesota interested. Now, couple things that can boil down to Kyrie going there. Who got the best deal and where Kyrie want to go? Simple as that. Kyrie got 2 more years on this deal. I think after this coming season, one is an option year to last year. So I think he got 2 more. And where Kyrie want to go? Do Dallas want to send him where they want to go? Guess what? Your Masai Ujiri is running there. They got rid of Jason Kidd. Anytime you see the new president coming in, it's a wrap. So I think it's pretty much wherever they get the best deal for Kyrie at. And now if you got Minnesota, Detroit, you might have other contenders that might be in there. If they all can leverage against each other, they all can compete. So now when you can get Kyrie for a little bit, less going rate coming off the injury, now his value rise because multiple teams need Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? But there's additional options for the Pistons because the Pistons got a couple really good players. For Minnesota, is really they are convincing Anthony Edwards to stay there and they need another guy. They're at the point where they're ready to get over that hump. And then they come into the Eastern Conference too, eventually. But in the near future, I believe they stand in the West. Now you want to get over that hump. And that hump is pretty huge. OKC is going to keep building. They got picks this year, next year. They developing. They going to keep building. And the Spurs going to get even stronger because they're going to get rid of Fox. They're going to dump that Fox contract and go to Dylan Harper, Stephen Castle. And they probably going to dump Fox for draft capital and cap room. So they can keep those young guys and still have young draft picks and keep going and going and going. So really that's a huge, that's a huge mountain to climb for Minnesota, because Kyrie and AE, and Jay McDaniels is a good look, but Gobert just holding you back. You can talk about Giannis, and that's cool and all, but Gobert still holding you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, him paying him that much money and not being able to develop his offensive game and really being a defensive liability at times, especially against Victor Wembanyama, that's what really killed them. They should have kept Cat, Anthony Edwards, Jaden Daniels, and then they had enough capital to do something else. Whether it was move for Lauri Markkanen, that would have been a better fit at the time, or somebody like that, or move for another guard at the time. So, yeah, they basketball operations made bad decisions. Rudy Gobert decision, it destroyed the franchise. Then they doubled down and they drafted Julius Randle and DiVincenzo. They didn't get no meaningful draft picks, it don't look like, not no high ones. DiVincenzo blew his Achilles out. Julius Randle is just not a great playoff performer. We see it every year. It's not going to change. You trying to get over the hump, so. But as far as, the Kyrie thing, I don't think that's going to get them over the hump. I think they need a little bit more than Kyrie. So, but as far as him leaving, obviously he in Minnesota. Stephon Marbury left. Kevin Garnett left. They got rid of Cat. So at that point, he probably is going to leave. Adidas is probably going to want him to go somewhere else. He want to go home to Atlanta. Would that be the smartest move for him in general? No, not to go home when you that young. But, at the end of the day, I think if anybody can handle it, he can. But I think eventually, historically it tells you a place like Minnesota, people don't plant roots there and stay in Minnesota and hoop. People say, what about K? Well, Detroit is a little bit different. People trying to compare Detroit to Cleveland. It's nowhere near the same. I'd say that right now. I've been to Cleveland, much love to Cleveland. Detroit has just got a whole nother nightlife compared to Cleveland, with more casinos, more amenities. It's different. Minnesota is different. And Cleveland and Minnesota don't get that weather that Milwaukee and Minnesota get neither. It's a different ballgame. But, if he get up out of there, I love to see these small markets be there. But for the Adidas and his brand, and if they win, his brand is going to be his brand anywhere. But, he probably going to get up out of there. That's probably what's going to happen. And eventually, he probably, I don't know where they're going to try to move him to, Atlanta or whatever, but eventually he's going to get up out of there. If they don't get it, I think their biggest mistake was Rudy Gobert trade was the biggest mistake. They doubled down. Trade for Randall was another bad trade. So, it was just bad moves. Them two bad moves killed Minnesota chances, to be honest. But hey, man, let me know what you think. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. I think getting rid of Rob Dillingham and not developing him, another bad move. So we'll see how it pan out. Peace. Check out the NBA Talk playlist.